Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again, spokesman and advocate for basic human rights for all people. And what that basically means is that those rights that are given to you, to all human beings, for living here on the face of the earth, it is my position to advocate to the people that they might know what they are entitled to from creation. Now, I'm not paid for doing this work. I do this work as an expression of the gratefulness that I have for seeing the hands, the unseen power that I call God in my life. And because I know what most people don't know, before I knew it, I was just like those of you who don't know it. I had it all fixed up in my head. Everybody had it fixed up in their head. Now I find out. And what I'm thinking, I'm sure you were thinking, whatever it is that you were thinking, that it was close enough. But what I found out, that is not what I was thinking. And I know it's not what you were thinking. So I know what it's like. And it is worthy that I would commit myself and my time, because the whole purpose of it is to let you know the truth so that it will set you free. And every last one of you want to be free. There are so many things that's going on in this world that you have no knowledge of whatsoever. It's really pathetic. But I find it necessary that I take these times to speak to you. What I want you to know basically now is this, that we're living in a world where a game is being played. A major game is being played, and you're in it, but you're being played. You're being used as something that's being played. Only a few know the rules of the game. Those who know the rules of the game are those at the very, very elitist top. In fact, if you want to know who they really are, I'll tell you this much about them. They call themselves God. And they are shaping and molding and creating out of this earth and out of all the people on this earth their own servants, and whatever name they want to call whoever's left here. But they're doing this, and the people are being used. All of us have been used, but I'm not being used now. I'm free. That's why I'm coming back to tell you this. And how do I know what I'm talking about? On many of my presentations to you, I've admitted that I have been a devil's agent. I mean, what do I mean by that? I mean, I've lived according to the will of gratifying myself. Gratifying myself, whatever it took to do that, outside of killing and maybe a couple other bad things. I have not been restricted. So, and though I haven't killed, the opportunities have presented themselves. It was just a power beyond me that kept me from doing it. And so, I'm here when I found myself in positions that would eliminate me from the scene. And these, several times, and these were the moments in time that unseen power showed his hand. It wasn't a man, it wasn't a human being on earth that could have done anything for me, black or white, man or female. Nobody could have done anything for me. And I'm saying these things, ladies and gentlemen, because a lot of instances, because of my upbringing in the South, and I was raised by my great-grandparents who themselves probably experienced a certain close amount of slavery. And even though they were legitimate people, meaning that they knew what they were doing, and they were very wonderful people and educated people, not by the educational system, but by using their own minds, and they could do anything. And one of the things that I learned from them is that other people, how to treat other people. And whatever they taught me in that regard, kind of a little different. You know, they taught me that if strangers come to your house, the strangers eat first. And after the strangers have eaten, then, especially if you don't have room for everybody to eat at the same time, then after they are finished, then the others can come and eat. And the reason for this is that the strangers are here for a moment in time. And we want them to feel what we really feel for them. And we want to share ourselves with them. When they leave, we want them walking away glad that they stopped by. And then, because we do this ourselves every day, so it's no big thing. That's what they taught me. Most folks think that's crazy. Say, no, you eat first. Respect yourself. And when you're finished, something is left and you want to share with them, then you can do so. Well, for those people, they got the same motivation. It came from the way they were taught. I understand that. I appreciate that. But my purpose here today is to say that if we want peace, and most of us claim that we want peace, if we want prosperity, and most of us claim that we want that, if we want joy, most of us claim that we want that, that requires a certain principle, practice. It requires a conduct, a certain kind of conduct. And in the world that we live in today, probably, no doubt, in the beginning was set up in such a way that the people who would be making this real, you, were given this same message that I'm giving now. And you were excited about it. You started saying, well, yeah, give me this. I accept this because we're not getting it from God. You didn't understand God. And so you went this way. But that was just to get you caught. And over time, you've been gradually, and over time, we've now arrived here at this point where we don't, for the most part, know what's going on, except people all over the world are going through all kinds of pain and suffering. That these people who call themselves elitists, who run the world, who own the politicians, who own the media, who own mostly everything on the face of the earth, and who really own us according to the systems that have been set up. But I want you to know that all of that is a game. They are playing it on you. You can flip the script and play this game on them by freeing yourself. I want you to know, and I want you to understand that when Jesus Christ, whether people believe in him or not, has a message. And that message is that of everybody who Abraham and whomever was talking about God was not being effective. Everybody that existed, Moses, all of these guys who had done all these things with God had not been effective in the sense that God was satisfied. Now God sent his son here. What do you mean by sent his son? The one came to represent God in the totality of what is required of us. And in our midst, he did like we should do. His actions is the action that we would take. He said he wasn't glorifying Caesar. He wasn't glorifying the Republican or Democrat or Donald Trump or Miss Clinton or Barack Obama. He was glorifying God. And he was telling truth that only the most evil ones knew were true. And the people liked it. So they said if we can only get him under our control. So when they offered him, look out over the world, what you can rule if you bow down and follow the dictates of materialism, the dictates of this God. And when Jesus said no, what was he saying no to? What was he being offered? He was being offered, some might think everything, but basically what he was being offered is the same thing that you are being offered, those of you who have a job. That's a piece of the pie, a piece of the pie. When you lose a job, you lose that piece of the pie. And some of you have to do some crazy things. Some of you have to go pick up guns and go killing folks. You just kill them, they say, and you have to go kill them. But you need a paycheck. You need your piece of the pie, and so you do it. Well, see, all of this happens in a world of darkness. All of this happens where there's no sense of direction. All of this happens when there's somebody else playing a game against you. And you out there struggling, trying to figure out what's going on in the world, not knowing that you're being played, and every move you make works for them and against you. Every now and then they might let you have a benefit, but that's only to deceive you. That's only to play the casino game on you, the boat game on you. What I'm basically saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, when Jesus was here on the cross, he was saying, I reject that. Now you got preachers out here working these 8-hour jobs a day, or even sometimes more. Gotta feed my family, they say. Well, look, they're not working for God. They don't know God. See, they don't even know what the purpose for God is. Jesus showed us that this is a material world. This is a material world. And this world is not led by God. That doesn't mean that it couldn't be led by God. When it was initially established, you had the choice. This is the result of the choice you made. You were influenced by another source rather than the source of your creation. And so now you're being deceived, and all of this is the result of that. But this is your choice. But Jesus comes to tell you that God wants you to know that your original choice is still valid, but you have to exercise it. This is a material. That does look. Some people say, "Well, you have to don't want anything." No, look. Every beautiful car that's built, every beautiful home, every beautiful landscape, every beautiful flower, every beautiful tree, all comes from God. I don't care whose hands was used to shape it. It comes from God, and it's good. But what you do to get it, what you do to be a part of it, now that's where you make your choice at. Now, when they say reject, that means I'm not going to be a part of this because what's too much stuff going on out there. The game's being played, suffering, crime and violence as a result of the game that's being played. I'm not for that, they say. And that's the attitude of Jesus is. But you're not just saying that. Jesus wants you to know that there's another place. From right here, this perspective, it's a spiritual place. You can't see it. You can't see it now. It takes faith. You must believe that it exists. And faith without works are dead. So if you got faith, then you must act in accordance with the basic principles that create where you might be going. Right here in the middle of this hell, right here in the middle of this material world. Why? Because now you are an example. You are the light of the world. You are the salt of the earth. You got to use it quick. And what's going to happen? Jesus told you, it doesn't matter how good you get. You might get a lot gooder than Jesus. But what they will do, are they going to accept you? No. They're not going to accept you. And accepting you wouldn't mean anything. It must be the people. But here you are. They're going to get rid of you. Rid of you. That's what Jesus is telling you. They're going to get rid of you. Just like they got rid of Jesus. The Son of God. The professed Son of God. Who walked on water. Who laid hands on the blind they could see. Who laid hands on the deaf they could hear. Who laid hands on the dumb they could speak. Could walk. Could all of the things they couldn't do. Various places he put hands on them. And they were able to do those things. So, that will let you know this is no game that's being played. This is real. Now watch this. Because of who you are, because of what they are, and because of what I am, this is what they do to people like me. He probably hoped that it didn't have to happen that way. He probably hoped that the people would really listen and maybe you guys could change the world then, back in those days, like I've been trying to do these days. But it didn't work. So as a consequence of that, he had to die. And he died in a most awkward kind of way. So that no matter how you die, it's easy to die with a bullet. It's easy to die with a knife stab wound in the right place. It's easy to die with suffocation, hang yourself, all these kinds of things. But to do and go through what that was. So he's saying, be ready for anything because it's worth it. Now watch this. They put it around. Excuse me. He stayed a certain while. Then he come back and say to the people, now what did I say? Now I'm going away and I'll be back. And I'm telling you a comforter. And this comforter is going to what? This comforter, the whole thing is about not listening to men. Because what the comforter does, the things that he sees of the Father, that's the things that he'll show you. The things that the Father do, that's what it'll all be about. So you will have a guidance. You don't have to listen to preachers out here who working out here for the man. You're listening to the voice of God through the Spirit of God. And you act according to that. Because you're not trying to live here. This is what this is all about. This is to free you from this. Freeing you from this because your actions that you take will either change this place where you're at or it'll send you to the place where it's much better than that. That's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. Christian people, they never told you that. They have you sitting there thinking you don't ever want to die. A Christian person is a person who has been free, a person who has seen the truth, a person who has accepted the truth and can't wait for it to be real in their lives. And they're acting with putting their actions behind their faith to establish that. They know that God is real and that God, who is the creator of everything, got their hands. And what they're doing right now is showing God to you. They're not worried about what you think about them. It's about what you think about God. And they're going to show you things that you're not doing for yourselves. And you're going to see how wonderful it is. And it's going to touch you, but it's God loving you. So, having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I could have gone further, but I think my tape is going to run out in a few minutes, and I really don't want to talk too long. I talked on another previous recording, I talked 30 minutes almost, and I know people don't want to have that kind of patience and listen to something for 30 minutes. But for those of you who did, I hope you got something out of it. And for those of you who have here, remember one thing. It is not about trying to outsmart the devil. It's not about that at all. The reason that the world is out here, you talk about why didn't God do this? These things are fruits of seeds that have been planted through the actions of individuals, actions of people. This is the result. This is the rotten fruit for so many. This is it. If you want better, you have to plant a better seed. And what better seed is there than do unto others as you would have others do unto you? Ladies and gentlemen, this is once again Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people, saying that all the things that are necessary for your peace, your prosperity, and your joy has already been provided. There are things that are essential amongst all of you for your survival, something like food, clothing, shelter, education, and a job. And that has also been provided. And when you put it together, all of the things that you need to survive and have heaven right here on earth will cost you nothing but an exercise of peace and prosperity and joy. This is God's way, not the world's. So every action that you take will either be changing the world. It'll be changing the world. Might not do in your lifetime, but it'll be changing the world for your great-grands or whatever. Next thing you know, heaven will be established on earth because you worked so diligently, so faithfully, and the light will shine so bright that, woo, changes were made. And you over here, not knowing anything about this. To you, this never existed. You're just a fresh one right here, and you're right here on time, and you know everything that's going on, and everybody about you know everything that's going on as well. In this, bye-bye.